In this video, I am asking you to see this dying child in the forest. Because this dying child doesn't want to participate in the world anymore, because it is too painful. This child has received so little care, yet so much abuse, and has not been seen by anyone. Not protected from their abusers by anyone. Blamed by those who had no clues. And so this child just wants the suffering to end. Now, here I am asking, what is the path of the Dhamma? It is to deeply acknowledge this exploitation, this abuse. It is to see it as it is. And so one might have established the belief one has to be raped, to be fed, or whatever. And of course then one doesn't want to live anymore, and one will hate their own hunger, because it makes them so vulnerable to abuse. So then, it is completely understandable. One wants to die. One longs for simply this pain of this abuse to end. This pain of being no one and not being seen, not being protected, not being offered any care. The pain of simply existing to be a tool. And so, can we just sit here and acknowledge this pain? See our fear, that no one has ever acknowledged this fear. See that we are dying, that we have no food, we have nothing. We have to force our bodies in ways that they are not able to do, and we just feel that we can't keep doing this. And if it wasn't our fault, then who is to blame? If it was truly simply a result of causes and conditions, it means that there are so many of us out there. Being silenced, being gaslit, being called crazy, being called psychotic, when in fact the abuse, the fear, it was all real. So then how can one ever trust such a sickened society? Where everyone, literally everyone, participates in this madness of allowing this abuse. Where no one is safe. Where no one is safe. Because if we could be taken, anyone could have been taken. So give it back. That this was never ours. But everyone keeps dumping it onto us because they don't want to see that it is as much theirs as ours. That our pain is as much to them. They will never feel safe if they keep scapegoating their fear. But we can't make them see it, can we? But that is what they all did to us. Because no one ever stepped in, and one person would have been enough. And so what does it mean to live without having to deny this fear, without having to deny this pain? I do not know. Because to answer that question, it would require us to come together. Because no one has stood in this pain with me. So I am asking you what it would mean to not be alone in this pain anymore. Because this video is to those who know this pain. Because I don't know how to talk to anyone else. Well, maybe everyone knows this pain, but no one is willing to drop their denial because it's too easy. Until you can't deny anymore because they have taken everything from you. Your body, your breath, your strength, your willingness to live. They took everything, and there was nothing left. They might only have not killed us only because they didn't want to end up in jail. For sure I would have been killed otherwise. Yes, rapists and murderers are allowed to live. Child abusers are living freely in this society. And so now I'm asking you, as a victim, as a survivor, what would it mean to not deny this pain and this fear anymore? What would it mean to be safe? What would it mean to not be a burden anymore? What would it mean to eat without having to betray and hurt ourselves? What would it mean to long and to dream? What would it mean to be willing to engage, willing? But that might be too far already. Simply, what would it mean for these emotions to exist